then there was a lot of discussion of it that was the early years of the internet before you had all the sophisticated internet like now with blogs and all that. But I have a tremendous amount of interaction and discussion. Some of it were by, Orthodox rabbis, who were questioning me, or challenging me, etc. But at the personal level, I don't really have that many opportunities to interact with Orthodox rabbis because I'm not a member of any rabbinical organization. But I surely hope that they will read it and will look. I would love to be invited. First, I would love to have it. I wrote to Shalom Karm, who's the editor of Tradition. I said, look, here's a book I think should be read by modern Orthodox Jews. It's offensive, it's heretical, it goes against what you people believe, but that's the reason why it should be. So review it in Tradition. Maybe he will. He didn't say that he won't. He said he'll bring it to the attention of the editorial board. I hope they'll review it, even if it's a negative review. But I want it to be discussed. I've sent out, information about it to certain groups or rabbis, but so far there's been no major. Nobody's responded to me. I haven't gotten a call from YU or Yeshivat Chovei Torah. Come and speak to us because we want to hear your views that are criticizing us. They'll do it. Maybe you can get me to come out as a scholar in residence somewhere in L.A. to a kind of a modern Orthodox shul that wants to hear, that's willing to discuss these things and wants to have a provocative speaker come out so that they can lambaste him or whatever the case may be.
I can't imagine there's any Orthodox institution that would invite you to discuss this.
Tell me a little bit more about, you read the book, and I really was amazed that you read it so fast, I know. And now you're saying, now why do you think that's the case? And do you think that that's good or bad? That they wouldn't invite someone like me? Not me, someone like me. Who cares if it's me or somebody like me? What do you see as the issue? And are you sympathetic to their view? Do you think these things should be discussed in Orthodox synagogues or not?
My dad's a Bible scholar, so I grew up with JEPD, taking it for granted. But I've been a member and participant in Orthodox shuls for the last 15 years. I'm a convert to Judaism. Mm-hmm. So I belong to the Orthodox community. So one of the prices of belonging to the Orthodox community is that it circumscribes your freedom. Right, that's what I felt very much. Where are you from, Lucas? I'm from Australia. Oh, I spent 4 months in Sydney. Great, beautiful place. My dad, I was raised a Seventh-day Adventist. I converted to Judaism. My dad was a leading Seventh-day Adventist theologian and Bible scholar and an evangelist, and then he parted ways with the church over the doctrine of chosenness. He said that the church wasn't any more specially chosen than other evangelical Christians. So I have a heretical father, so I'm kind of familiar with how heresy plays out within a insular religious community. What city were you from? I grew up on a Seventh-day Adventist college campus 2 hours outside of Sydney. I see. So it was a community called Currumbong. Then when I was 11, we moved to the Napa Valley, where my dad taught at another Seventh-day Adventist college, Pacific Union College. And then when I was 14, my dad moved out of the church and founded his own non-denominational evangelical Christian foundation. And so I grew up in that. But for Christians, the question is not the divinity of the Scripture, though they believe it's divinely inspired, blah, 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 but the divinity of Jesus. Right. So I find that Orthodox Jews are as excited to discuss the divinity of the Torah as Christians are to discuss the divinity of Jesus, meaning they're not open to taking any. Yes. It's like the least favorite topic. I remember how shocked my stepmother was when she encountered Christians for the first time who did not believe in the Trinity. So it was just absolutely shocking. Yeah. And go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish your sentence, please. Oh, so yeah, it's just not every group has its benefits and its blessings and its curses, and the closing off of discussion of this topic, the historicity of the Exodus from Egypt, and like questions, is one of the, for some people, blessings, and for other people, curses of belonging to Orthodox life. So I don't think that anyone like you would be invited to speak on this topic in any Orthodox institution. It's just the way Orthodoxy works.
Mm-hmm. Were you ostracized by your family when you converted?
I was already ostracized from my family. Whoa. Whoops. No. It was a bitter pill for my father, but I was kind of on my way to leading my own life anyway. So, but my parents thought that was a very bitter pill when I converted to Judaism, but it was nothing compared to when I started writing on the pornography industry. So. So the shame and horror that they felt from that, they couldn't even imagine it. It was 1,000 times worse than converting to Judaism.
I see. And I hope it went in that sequence. First the pornography, and then so you
no, it
better.
Didn't actually. That's why I'm such a problem. No. I was very interested in my Judaism and practicing my Judaism while simultaneously spending most of my day interviewing porn stars.
I see. That's okay.
So that's how I met David. He was reading my website. So
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I know who's doing that. Yeah. Don't put this in the interview.
Yeah.
This is going to be edited, I assume.
Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you. Only if you're going to say good things now, you can include it. If you say bad things, don't include it. What did you think of the book?
Well, it was all very familiar to me. So my favorite parts were, because I read Louis Jacobs, the Condition of Jewish Belief, and I mean, I grew up with JD and biblical scholarship and versus fundamentalism. My dad had a endless war with fundamentalists because he has 2 PhDs, one in Bible and one in something else religious oriented. So it was familiar to me, but what I particularly enjoyed was the personal chapter at the beginning, or the introduction, and then the 2 chapters at the end where you kind of account for why people believe in something that goes against the evidence.
Yeah.
And then some of the funny stories from the arguments for the divinity of the Quran.
Yeah, specious proofs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I don't know. I don't know if it's not important. After you've spoken to me so long, I don't think you learn anything new from another interview I had. But there's a thing called. Are you familiar with the Center for Inquiry at all?
Yeah. I spoke. Prometheus Books published one of my books, and I spoke at the Center for Inquiry.
Oh, really? Which book of yours did they publish?
This was the one, History of X: 100 Years of Sex in Film.
Oh, interesting. Because I gave a talk. The fact that chapter on Islam, part of that I gave a talk at a conference they had in UC Davis a year and a half ago called Scripture and Skepticism. And then I was interviewed there by DJ Grothy, who has this podcast, pointofinquiry.org. So I was interviewed like a year and a half ago, but then I was just interviewed by him, and it's on their, December podcast about the book.
Oh, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. He was very interested, actually, in a question which you didn't even raise, because different people obviously have different interests. He was fascinated by the fact that I'm a member of an Orthodox shul, that I keep many of the rituals, and all that, even though I'm not a believer in the doctrines. And to him, he kept trying to understand that phenomenon. So that's what a lot of that.
I had the same thing when I spoke to them. They couldn't believe that I was a theist.
Right. Yeah, they find that or even a practicing religious doing. You can right. In your case, because you're a pornography with the pornography, meaning the theism didn't go together.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was great. So I appreciate the book and I appreciated the interview. And I'll send you an email when I pull it all together and put it on my website. You haven't done much with your blog.
No, because the blog depends on what people. Because I think in the book, in the preface, I say people can send me questions to the blog, but nobody seems to have done so. So I don't. The blog was really meant for me to respond to people's comments or questions. But so far, people either haven't done that or whatever. It's been discussed some other places. I mean, he discussed that you actually made a link to Modern Orthopraxy.